Hello, everybody. It's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with Donnie Blair from El Diablo, Hagfish, Armstrong, the Toadies, and lastly, the Mag 7. How are you, Donnie?
I'm fantastic, sir. I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me on this. I'm glad that you have mainly surf bands on here too. That's what I'm stoked about because
Oh,
I'm a
so
surf nerd.
you've seen it.
So yeah, dude. Thank you again for having me. I'm super stoked. Very,
Oh,
very stoked.
like I said before the interview, I have nothing but respect for you and your brother and George
Thank
and
you.
Tony.
Thank you.
I'm a
Yeah.
long time Hagfish fan, and
Awesome.
I just ordered Buick, man. The reissue.
Nice.
Uh,
Have you ever heard it before?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had like the original one and all that.
I
And
had
it's
it on.
got extra songs on it from what I'm told.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot on it.
And I honestly, we're kind of letting George run with this. So I don't know what the fuck he's put on there. So
I'm just happy.
it's
I'm
it
just happy it's out because it's so hard to find now.
yeah. Yeah, I've got maybe three, I think I've got 3 or 4 copies left on CD. So, I think we each have a couple,
Yeah,
something like that.
I have
But it was
this.
such a it was,
Go ahead.
oh no, you go ahead, go for it.
Oh, I have a 7-inch from around that time. It's the red cover with the hagfish on it. It's got stamp
Yeah,
and it made.
yep. Yeah, we did that. We got called, it's on BYO.
Yeah, yeah.
We got called sellouts because people said, "Oh, you guys were on BYO, and then you went to a major label." Like, no, we weren't. We were on London first, and then BYO. We became friends with them. You guys want to do a 7-inch? We're like, yeah, let's do a 7-inch. It'd be fun. And London, we're like, yeah, no problem. Let's do that. Like, it's just people don't know, and we would laugh a lot about it. It sold well. I think they went through a bunch of good pressings on that one. It was just fun. Those were the just amazing days, man. We
Yeah.
were figuring it out and discovering, oh wow, we've never been to Chicago, let's go to Chicago. Or like we were talking about our first time in Philly, or fuck, Portland, this place is crazy. Hey, there's a hooker. you know Wait, there's another one, and then another one. Shit, there's a lot of them here. But Seattle, everything. And it was discovering the world together, all four of us, to figure out what we're doing and how we're doing it. And it was a lot of fun back then, man. It really was.
um, we're gonna get back into the early days, but what I want to talk
Okay.
to you about is why you're here today. Noah
Yes, sir.
Noah Drumright from Otitis Media Records is reissuing the Cotton Eagle sessions by the Mag 7. And
Yep.
might I say it's a fantastic record, and
Thank you.
I'm gonna try to be on the first round of orders.
Oh, we'll make sure that you get one. I promise. It's one of my favorite records I've ever made. It's up there with like Lame Ass and and Heretics, Toadie's record that we made. It's just one that how it came about. Like we would always just write stuff and demo, between Brandon and I. And I had left to go to Hawaii with the Toadies. And I came back and I had some stuff for Brandon, and he came over for dinner, he and his girlfriend, and he and I left to go get some more food for for our dinner party or whatever. And he goes, "Hey, dude, I did something. Don't get mad at me." Like, what? What happened? He goes, "Well, all that jazzy stuff I've been writing? Yeah. Well, I sent it to Bill and asked him if he wanted to do a record. And he said, yes." I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And Bill had already played on another record of ours, The Future's Ours If You Can Count. And he played on that. My brother's on that, and Brandon. And so he sent all this stuff to Bill, and Bill loved it. And I think Bill did to me. I mean, I lost count how many records I've done with Bill, how many shows. I mean, I've done two Only Crime records with Bill. You know, we had Only Crime together. He and I did, and my brother and Russ, and Aaron Dahlbeck of Bane and Converge. And you know, but I think the Cotton Needle is my favorite example of Bill's playing. I think it's his best drumming. I think that's real Bill, because we were trying to be a surf version of Steely Dan. You know, that's what we wanted to be on that record. And Brandon wrote the record. He wrote everything on that. I didn't write anything on that. I wrote a little bit of the bass lines, but everything he had in mind was just right. It was perfect. So I didn't really like go in and I'm the bass player, I'm gonna fuck with this. No, if it's good, you do it. And he wrote it with the mind of if Miles Davis had a surf guitar instead of a trumpet when he wrote Kind of Blue. So that's what he was thinking at that point, you know, and I think he nailed it. I just love listening to that record, man. I love it. It's such a good record, you know.
It's well, for those who don't know, and there probably isn't many who are watching this, you started out more surfy punk
Yeah.
in your early days, and my particular favorite, Knife to a Gunfight,
Oh shit, really?
Is
nice. Okay.
It's super like it's like if Hagfish did a surf album.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love it. Sleepwalk was our wedding song.
What? That version of Sleepwalk was your wedding song?
Not that version. The Santu and John.
But the song.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's a beautiful song, man. It's when I renew, I think my wife and I might renew our vows for our 30th. And I think we might use that version too. I love that song. I just love it, man.
It's ever since I was a kid, my dad was in radio, so I always heard really old songs. So I would go to the radio station and I would listen to the AM side because that's where all the jazz and stuff was.
Yeah. It was mine and Zach's dad was a DJ, and we would play a game we'd be in the car with him, and he would, any song that came on, we had 5 seconds to either name the band, the song, or someone in the band, something about the song. 5 seconds total. We had to recognize something about it, or we were in deep shit with our old man, you know. And he turned us on to everything, you know. The reason I played bass is because of my dad. I wanted to play drums, but we had a friend of ours that was going to play drums, and my dad was like, why don't you play bass? And I was like, bass is so boring. I was thinking of, you know, Bill Wyman, you know, I mean, who's not boring, but you know, if you're 13. So my dad played long distance runaround. Yes. And I heard that and was like, all right, I'll play bass. That sounds great. Let me do that. Still can't do it, but I want to, you know.
Some recognize, I recognize you're playing. One of the things that I love about your bass playing is the little run you do in Stamp, and which is similar to the run that you do in Sleepwalk.
Wow. Okay.
I know I'm totally nerding out, but
no, dude. I think it's cool that you hear that. Though. Yeah. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear it. I'm copying Carl Alvarez. I'm doing a really, really, really ghetto McDonald's cheeseburger version of Carl fucking Alvarez. That's all I ever. If I do those little runs, it's because I don't have the harmonic capability that Carl has, and the technique and the skill. So it's kind of like the easy, simple down. It's like Carl Alvarez, you know, for dummies. That's what I'm doing, you know.
When you see him on stage, he's like a tank.
Dude, it's insane. It's his harmonic ability. That's the thing, his left hand and his ears. His right hand is amazing too, because he's so consistent. But his left hand, he just hears things. He knows where he can go. He goes all over the place because he's such a huge jazz fan. So he's putting in extensions, and then he'll put in extensions upon extensions, and then he'll do alternates. He'll twist around the chord. just, and have that guy as a friend means the world, to me, it does.
They're my favorite band is All, not the Descendants, All. Descendants is my second.
Whoa.
So
wow. What version of All? Wait a minute. Are you Dave Smalley, Scott, or Chad?
Oh, well, I've only ever seen them with
You
Chad.
can be honest.
I've only ever seen them with Chad.
Okay.
But
have you?
But I love Scott.
Well, have you heard of Vulture Wake?
Yes.
Do you know who the guitar player is?
Is you're a guitar player, right?
Yeah. Okay. I figured you knew. I just didn't know if you knew.
Yeah. Oh my God.
They're working on a new. Yeah, they're doing a new record in a couple of weeks. He's got Dave Klein that was in Wretch Like Me on their last record, and John Hernandez that was a drummer on that record. That's the rhythm section for Vulture Wake. So it's those two.
Dave Klein has that studio, right?
No, I thought it was him too. It's, you know who that is? It's the drummer from the Bomboras.
Oh,
that's who that is. I thought the same thing. I was like, I didn't know Dave had a fucking studio. I looked him up. That's the drummer from the fucking Bomboras, which, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bomboras, they're unfucking beatable. You know what I mean? So that's him. That's different Dave Klein. Completely different one.
Wow.
But they've got Dave and they've got John, and it's Chad and Brandon, and the stuff is great. It's going to be an awesome, little bit heavier record. It's really
heavy.
Not like Clutch or Mastodon, but like it's like combined like what they were like in their last record, but with a little bit more maturity. You know what I mean? It's really badass.
That record was insane.
It's great, man. They demoed it here in Amarillo.
Oh, really?
And it's great. It's awesome. Yeah, Brandon he wrote a really great record. He's written a lot of the stuff too, and I've heard a lot of the demos, and they're going in at the end of October, and I don't know who's putting it out yet, but he's pretty stoked. Yeah.
Well, my goal when I started this podcast was to interview all the singers for the Descendants and All. And I got everybody but Milo. Everybody else did it.
You haven't gotten Milo yet?
No, I tried.
Oh man, you'll have to hook.
As a matter of fact, I talked to Stefan Egerton's dog walker, and he was going to reach out to him. Of all things, I was interviewing his dog walker, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll talk to Stefan," and then I didn't hear anything.
We'll talk later. We'll see what we can do.
Awesome.
It's so weird to be around. I mean, even though Bill is like a brother, an older brother to my brother and I, almost a father figure. He and Stefan taught us how to play. I mean, when we went into the blasting room to do lame ass, we were just like, oh my God, these guys are amazing. And that lasted for like 2 days. All the farts started, all the everything. We're like, what the fuck? And they were hardcore though. It was like a Marine boot camp, what we did, I don't even think we pushed record for like 2 weeks when we went up there. We were thinking, oh, we'll go up, we'll knock this out, we'll be done. Wrong. Way fucking wrong. It was 2 weeks of rehearsal and listening to everything. Like, all right, that part is cool. That next part fucking sucks. Get rid of that part, So who are we to argue? They were our heroes.
Did Bill produce the record, or did he just engineer it? Because I know he kind of steps in wherever you want him to step in.
He and Bill, wait, which record? Lame Ass or He and Stefan produced and engineered it. They would Bill's big thing was vocals. Stefan's thing was guitars and drums, actually. So, but it was nearing our time when we were going to be done. And Zach and I was like, they were like, well, we really need to get to some vocals, So Zach was done with guitar. I hadn't done any bass. So I did all of the bass for Lame Ass in one, I think, 11-hour session, all one day.
Wow.
Bill was on my left, Stefan was on my right. I was in the middle, shitting my fucking pants. Like, are
Yeah.
you what? I was so fucking nervous because any bad note, nope, go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope, like fuck.
Yep.
So I listened back to that record and like, wow, I was playing really, really, really conservative on that record. And it's because I was just trying to get through it. Like, okay, I might do a run here. Did I do it? It did it. Then I would get a bar in. Nope. Like, you know.
I remember Zach saying way back when I met you guys, how if he wasn't note for note downstrumming everything, they'd stop him. So it's much like they did that with everybody.
They did and they didn't. All right, you said you love Knife to a Gunfight. You know the song Place Feet Here, Rock Like Z? I wrote that because inside the blasting room, I think it's still there too. I think when Zach was doing the last Rise record, he told me it's still there. In front of the control board, they told Zach, they're like, all right, get into your playing stance. So Zach spread his legs wide, like Stefan, Greg again, and they heard it. They're like, okay, that's where you need to downstroke. They've got tape, I'm not lying, put it around his feet so he would always have a place to put his feet. And they wrote, place feet here, and then other foot, rock like Z. So Zach would go in, put his feet there, and he could downstroke, and that was the placement. And that was there. Like I said, I still think it's there,
That's awesome.
That's why that is called that, and they figured it out. All right, Zach, put your feet here. That's your stance whenever you're recording. They have it down to a science, man. They really fucking do. It's we've had bands where, yeah, man, we're going to go up. We're so stoked to go up with Bill and record. Like, that ain't going to last. Good luck. I mean, what it does is it makes you better because he's very discerning. His ear is insane that he hears the things he hears. And then you start hearing it. And then you start thinking you're insane. You're like, oh God, I'm hearing things like Stevenson now, but it makes us better. It makes you better on everything, I think.
So,
I mean, and his drums. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I don't want to stop you.
No. I was just going to talk about his drumming on Cotton Needle. I think Bill did that in a day. I think he did it all in a day.
Really?
We didn't do it together. He listened to the demos that Brandon had sent. Brandon put some really great drum demos on there, and Bill would mess with them, and we showed up. We were on our way up there, and he had called me and goes, okay, I'm done with the drums. I just got done. Like, oh, and they're edited and everything's done. He goes, yeah. You'll hear them. And I think the sound of them, everything about him, just the way he plays, like the song, you don't hire Evel Knievel to ride a tricycle, like the snare rolls, he does that, the beat. Oh my God, man. It's him. He's calling a lot of that stuff. He calls the Stevenson shuffle after Bernard Purdy. Bernard Purdy had the Purdy shuffle. So Bill has the Stevenson shuffle,
Is that is that what he did? Is that the one he does on My Age?
No, well, that whole thing is his snare rolls that he does, that that he does nuclear. He does that, but he does his straight snare rolls. He does it so quick and goes into this beat on that Evel Knievel song. I think, gosh, I can't remember the song that he's doing the Stevenson shuffle. Gosh, I'll have to look back at it. It's just, I love listening to that record because of his playing, I mean, there's so many cool moments. We went up there and we had maybe 3 days to do the recording. That was it,
Wow.
Yeah. And
it's a pretty complex album.
We got tones. It is. But once Brandon said, all right, Bill's going to do this, he and I knuckled down and learned every part. So that way, when we walked in, we knew the parts. So if there needed to be any improvement or any like, oh, wait, I got another idea for this, we weren't going to have to, we knew the basic parts, we had him pretty much down. And it was like we had worked for probably 2 months before we went up there, making sure that we had everything, what we were going to do, because that's how you have to be there. It's not the kind of place where you go in and like, oh man, we're just going to kind of come up and jam and create. Nope, not that place, son. No, you need to know what you're going to do before you get up there. And if you don't, the fuck out. They don't fuck around up there at all. They're there to work, not get into the moment and all, and like with candles everywhere, any of that shit.
Have you gotten a chance to visit Stefan's studio in Tulsa?
No, I was gonna go over there. Well, Toadies did have a tour that we had to cancel because of COVID and all that stuff. And the first night was going to be in Tulsa. So I was just going to go see him and his wife. His wife, Nat, is just the best. And Stefan is just the best human being on the planet. They both are the best couple. I want to check out his studio. I really want to, but he's a talent, man. Stefan he's the whole ball of wax. He's got it all down, man. He really does.
So in 1995, all was playing at the Trocadero. I saw almost every show that came through there. I went to because I was in college. Nice. I was like, every night I had off, so I just go to the shows. But Stefan was standing there talking to some girl, and he had those cutoff jean shorts that he used to wear. You remember those?
Yes. Yeah. I remember those well. Remember those well.
He had those on, and I had just bought your album and met you guys, and I went over and I'm like, Stefan, you and Bill did like such a great job on this Hagfish album. I'm such a huge fan. And he goes, that's all he did. He didn't even say anything to me.
Stefan, that's the best part of Stefan. He's just like, fuck yeah. And he's still, and I guarantee you that meant a lot to him. That was their first major label release that they ever did.
Oh, really?
We were the second band to be in there in the blasting record. They were still building other rooms when we went in. Every time we went back to make a record, it would be more improved here. I mean, where there's I think it's their mastering room now. They had, God, I remember they hadn't even built that part into it yet. It was where all practiced. So we would just be done with rehearsing. I mean, we'd be done with going doing pre-production and be like, all right, guys, we're going to rehearse really quick. We're like, can we watch? We're like, yeah, we don't fucking care. Come and watch. So we did. We'd just watch all every night and became great friends with all of them, which was a great thing. And then from that point on, that's when it became family, just a huge fucking family.
How do you turn that around? Like when you meet your idols and then all of a sudden you have to form a relationship aside of that and work and then eventually become friends. How does that happen?
I don't know. I think it was somewhat with our personalities. I mean, we worship them as heroes, but when it came to creative decisions, we had no problem going, I disagree with you. No. And that's the thing that we have. It's a brotherly thing. Bill and Stefan, and especially Bill knows what he is to my brother and I. He knows in his core what he means to both of us, and but he also knows that we're going to argue with him if we have to about certain things. And just, when we were in Only Crime, we would get into band discussions about stuff, and not arguments, not like, fuck you. It never, ever that, but just, we never kowtowed to anyone. And I think Bill liked that. I think he respected us more, that we wouldn't go, oh, you're Bill, we're going to bow down or whatever. Like, no, I mean, he knew that even if we were arguing with him, his respect as a man, as a human being and as a fucking musician is unparalleled in my brain, what he is to me and all those things. But we have a mutual respect with each other. It's very much, I mean, I saw him with my brother a month ago when Rise came through Dallas. And I haven't seen Bill in a couple of years. He came through the door, looked at my wife first. Hey, Shelly, gives her a hug, looks at me. What's up, bitch? Suck a bunch of, you know? And that's it. Like, you know, we just nailed. I mean, I take it back. He didn't say a fucking word to me. He didn't say one word. He just opened up his arms. I gave him a hug. I sat the fuck down. And then we started talking. That's it.
Nice.
That's where we are. And that's how it was with my brother. You know, Zach and Bill especially have a really, really good bond. A really good bond. I mean, they've made so many fucking records together these days, though. It's abnormal. Zach's made more records with Bill than he has me, you know.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, a shit ton. So
Suck Bitch is very short song, but it's good enough for the title, to have a title on the record called Suck Bitch.
And then Slight Return. Bill told me when I sent him the demos for that. I had a day job, but I wanted to pay for that record. So I got a second job at Starbucks so I could pay for that record and pay for my brother to fly in and for Brandon to fly in and for us to go do the record. And so I sent Bill the demos. And when he heard Suck Bitch, then he saw Suck Bitch Slight Return. He said he literally fell off of his chair laughing. Yeah, Suck Bitch is a completely, I can't get into it now. It's a long story. It's a good story though. It's a pretty good story. So it's we'll go into it some other time.
So I want to talk about a little bit about the last record that I heard, Black Feathers.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you.
That was it was an EP, correct? There's like 5 songs.
Yes.
So that kind of for me, it kind of picks up where Cotton Needle Sessions left off. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Dan Phillips, that was the guitar player on the first 2 Mag 7 records. He produced that one. We loved his sound. I love the sound that he got on Use Your Powers for Good, Not Evil, our second record. And Brandon Chief was among them, was like going, hey, let's go to Dan. Let's just him, and then Matt Pence mixed it, you know. And Dan and Brandon worked great together. I love Brandon's guitar tone on that record. Black Feathers is so good. And when we were mixing it, the drums sound amazing. Matt had the bass up pretty high, and I was like, let's go for Injustice for All. Let's just keep down that bass. Let's let it be felt and not heard. Because I didn't want the bass to cover up that kick-ass guitar tone and those drums. It's like, no, let's do that. You know what I mean? And we're talking to Noah. We've got some ideas about doing another EP and some stuff like that. You know,
some new stuff.
7 stuff. Yeah, we're gonna do some of that stuff.
That's awesome.
We're pretty stoked. Stoked. And that's I've got songs that I had written that weren't really right for Mag 7. That's what I'm doing with this Tulsa Doom stuff that Noah's going to put out. That comes out next year. I'm turning it into in a couple of weeks.
So tell me a little bit about who's involved in that. What kind of sound you were going for?
A lot of it sounds like Mag 7. It's me. I wrote all of it. It was just, I kind of wanted to do something where I was tired of asking someone, what do you think? I had to do that in Hagfish, Armstrong, all through the Mag 7, Only Crime, the Toadies. You get to a point where you're tired of asking that question, like, wait, I don't care what someone else thinks. I'm going to do this exactly how I want to do it. If it comes out and it bombs and no one likes it, fine. I have no one but myself to blame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started demoing it up and sending it to people I trust. My brother, he was the first one, you know, and he was like, this is really fucking good, bub. And the drummer is TG Lafredo that was my co-writer on the book I did. He and I were talking, and he has a studio in his house. So he just plays drums there and he's mixing everything. And a lot of it I sent to my brother to play guitar on. So Zach's on 2 or 3 songs. And Noah has another Surfulator Volume 2 coming out.
Oh yeah.
Year.
I have the first one.
Yeah, we're on it. It's a song called A Sunday in TJ, and it's me, my brother, and TG. And it kind of goes all over the place. There's a song I wrote for my wife that's got strings on it. But it's very much surf instrumental. It's kind of, it runs the gamut of huevos, what you hear some Mag 7 stuff and some stuff you wouldn't hear the Mag 7, you know. There's some jazzy stuff on it. It's kind of just one of those of, I would do a demo, send it to TG. If he loved it, he would play on it. I would go back and play guitar, a lot of rhythm guitar on it. Actually, next week, I've got to get Brandon's part put on it because Brandon's on it as well. He's playing a couple of solos on it too.
Awesome.
It's kind of like when you hear it, when it comes out, if the guitar sounds like, you know, Johnny Ramone played it, that's me playing the rhythm. If it sounds really interesting and cool and creative, it's not me playing it. That's how that ran.
Did you use a Mosrite?
Next year. I did. I have a Mosrite bass. My brother sent me. He got it. God, I think he had it sent from Hawaii. It's a 50-year-old. Oh God, it's like a 56-year-old bass.
Wow.
It's a yellow Mosrite. And it's on a song called Gong Fu. TG got a gong, covered it up, and made a drum beat by just recording, hitting this gong. Or like to get a hi-hat sound, he got beads and beans and shuffled them around. Or he used all the drums on it or with a gong. And then I just came up with a song on top of it, you know. And for that one, I played a Mosrite. It sounds like a Rickenbacker.
That's interesting.
I love it. I mean, it could come out and people may not like it, but to me, I'm such a huge Cramps fan. I wanted it to sound like, you know, would Poison Ivy like this, you know? Yeah. So it's kind of, and I didn't like my guitar playing, but I sent it all to Zach and he goes, I love your guitar playing, do it. So that's why I'm playing guitar. Zach was like, I love your guitar playing, which is kind of the only kind of okay I need in this world, you know. My brother says he likes it, like, oh, fuck everyone else, you know.
Well, who's gonna be harder on you than your brother, right?
100%. We're both pretty hard and very honest with each other. Like, I don't know about that part. You should do this a little differently, you know. So if he's like, no, you're good, like, okay, you know. So I'm pretty stoked. I think it'll be next year or so.
Awesome. One of the things that I forgot to mention is that you were in Oli Crime.
Yeah.
That I fucking love.
Thank you. I do too.
So there's
I do too, dude. I love that.
To the Nines, Virulence, and Pursuance. Are you on all 3 of those?
No, Zach and I had left after actually with Virulence, God, like, so we did To the Nines, and I think I'd learned the demos. Zach and I drove up to the blasting room. He drove up to Amarillo. Then we had like another 6-hour drive in the blasting room, and it was a snowstorm. And there's a lot of big mountains up in Colorado on I-25 that, you know, it looked like, you know, whenever the Millennium Falcon goes like, you know, warp speed, that's what it looked like. It's so much fucking snow, you know. Zach and I were just, we're knuckling it like, oh my God, and listening to these demos over and over again. So we had a harrowing journey. I'm not making this up. It should be 7 hours. It turned to a 10-hour drive, right? We showed up late at night. It was like 10:30, 11 at night. You know, we go to the blasting room and, you know, I was exhausted. So they're like, okay, all right. And Bill was like, okay, you guys ready to practice? Okay. And we did. We practiced for 3 hours. And, you know, I wasn't necessarily like in the band yet. I didn't know. And so a few days later, Zach had to ask me, he goes, Hey, do you guys, he asked Russ and Dahlbeck, like, what about my brother? Do you guys want him in the band? They were like, oh yeah, done. Bill and Zach already wanted me. That's why I was up there. They had
Oh,
another bass player, but I think he couldn't do it or something. And so Zach and Bill were like, let's just get Donnie. So we practiced for maybe 4 or 5 days, and then we just went in and made To the Nines. And then we just toured the world over and over. And we would go up probably every other month. We called it Camp Crime. We would do writing sessions for it. And finally, how we made the record is we set up in their B room and we did everything live. And Virulence, it's all live. There might be 2 guitar overdubs where Zach does another melody. Russ would be in the room with us, just kind of writing lyrics while we recorded. So we would record each song 10 times, and they would just take pieces and edit it together. But everything,
wow.
we didn't do drums, then bass, then guitar. It was all live. Every bit of it, like that you hear, was the 4 of us playing live and making sure it was good. Like, all right, is this ready? Like, yep. And Russ was in there with us the entire time listening. Like, what did you think? Do that one again. Like, okay, or he would like, what about this part? Because I've got this lyric. Can we do this? Like, okay, you got it. And we would just, I think we did that in about a week. Yeah, I think that was about a week, because it would just be like 2 songs a day, because we were just screaming through this, because we'd been touring so much and we were together, and it was just such a great, that was one of the best recording experiences also, to do that, to be playing and look over to my left and see my other, and then in between us is fucking Bill. Like, come on, man. It doesn't get better than that. If you're a musician, it doesn't. It just doesn't. So
It's funny about the Descendants and all, even the Lemonheads album,
yeah,
is that I find it very, as much as I'm a Carl and Stefan fan, I find it very hard not to listen to Bill. Do you find that?
I do. I very much do. But I do and I don't. I think I have to tune them out sometimes if I want to listen to Stefan, or I just want to listen to Carl.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'll listen to Kane, Carl. You know what I mean? Or same way with Stefan. But it's Bill's such an overpowering presence on a song. You can't get away from him. That's why I love his drumming on Cotton Needle so much, is because it's very unlike him, but it is like him if you know what a jazz freak he is. No one knows more about jazz than that guy on the planet. Maybe Stefan or Carl. Maybe, I mean, I don't know anyone else on this planet that knows more about jazz than those 3. They are jazz nuts, and not like, oh, I've got Kind of Blue. I mean, they're like, no. Dexter Gordon, like from like 47, or Sidney Bechet. Okay, I'm in. We did a tour with the guys in the ska band that Fat Records with, and Bill got into like a 2-hour discussion about Bix Beiderbecke, and blew this dude's mind. He's like, you know who Bix is? He goes, of course I know who Bix is. He's amazing. And just started going off on him, So it's Bill and Stefan got their shit down, man. They all are musicologists beyond the sun,
Well, I was listening. I refreshed myself today listening to Cotton Needle sessions, and I noticed exactly what you're saying about it's playing different. It's playing softer, but it's still Bill. You can still hear him playing, like when he does the surf beat, he's still hitting the 8th notes. So he's still doing it Bill style.
He is. Yeah. But if you hear like like A1A, that song, it's just so dun da da dun. He's just kind of, it's him, but it isn't, And he's talked about, I think Brandon talked to him recently. Bill wants to do another one. He wants to do another Cotton.
Oh, that would be so awesome
with us. Yeah, you know, Brandon's right now, he's trying to get this second Vulture Wave record done. And then I know I'm trying to get my Tulsa Doom record done. After all that, we're going to what we're going to do, you know. And I think Brandon's got some stuff coming up next year. So we're just, I mean, who knows what I'm going to have, but it will be music, you know, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody who's going to watch this is going to be in some way or another familiar with hagfish. I have a couple of hagfish and other questions for you, if that's okay.
Of course, get in there. Ask me whatever.
Okay. The self-titled album that came out with the little nipple on it.
Yep. Yep.
You took what you did on Rocks Your Lame Ass and you just elevated it. The songwriting is it's much more complex. So tell me about what you went through as a growing experience. Did you take what you learned from recording Rocks Your Lame Ass, or did you just grow as songwriters?
Both. We went through a heavy demo process. I mean, do you have the record that Cold Front put out called That Was Then, This Is Then?
Yes.
All right, that is the demo process between Lame Ass and Hagfish.
Was that like the lost recording?
No, that was all like the demos that London rejected. So much stuff that so what we did was, you know, Lame Ass came out, and then we didn't go home for 2 years. Basically, we just kept touring. And George would write some songs here and there. And when we were in town, we would demo stuff. If we had 2 weeks home, we'd go into the studio and demo. We'd spend a weekend and go do some stuff. And that's how we came up with Envy and Hand and shit like that. And, you know, so we had a lot of demos, and we talked to so many different producers because we didn't know if we were going to go back to Bill and Stefan. You know, London didn't know. They loved the way Lame Ass came out, but they were like, let's see what else. So we talked to, Michael, I can't remember his name. He was, he mixed Injustice for All. He was with Tesla. He was their producer. Government Mule. We met up with Paul Leary, the Buttle Surfers. We met up with Gil Norton, you know, and we were this close to going with Gil Norton.
The Pixies.
So yep. And we're huge Pixies fans. So we were like, holy shit, Gil Norton wants to and it was done. Gil Norton was going to produce our record. But he had already been in the States doing the Mises, another band that was in London.
Yep.
And that turned into that second Counting Crows record that he did. So his caveat was he wanted to go do the record in London. You know, we had just come back from like a month and a half tour, I think, of like Europe or something. And we wanted to do it on, we didn't want to leave the States. Like, we don't want to go back to Europe. So that was that. Yada, yada, yada. He had enough time to go do the second Foo Fighters record. That's
the color
right
and
after
shape.
that. Fucking great record, man.
Isn't it?
So it is. Well, and so what happened is we ended up going with this guy, Bo Hill, that did Rat, Warrant, and Winger. And he produced Bad Brains. And the thing is like London, we're like, all right, just give it a shot. Go do the record with him. You don't like it halfway through, you know, we'll just start over with a different producer, you know. Turns out we didn't like it, you know, and we got done, and I think it cost about like $350,000, and they didn't like it and dropped us.
Yeah, because
that's what happened with London.
You put that out on Honest Thongs, right? Fat Records,
which was part of Fat. Yeah. And so the thing with that was like, we were just like, what the fuck? And it's not I'm not going to smear Bo's name. Bo's a hell of a producer. Bo taught us a lot about playing together, playing well, playing solid, what good songs were. Bo shaped a lot of those songs with us, you know, things that he didn't hear that he needed to hear. So when we got to Bill and Stefan, they were like, this is great. Do this. And we'd already been touring for, 2.5 years straight at that point. You know what I mean? So we were just, we were a lot more solid when we went in to do that record. And the thing with Mike is, we had gone just a battle to try to get these songs demoed and get these songs done and stuff like that. And demoed and get them with a recording and all that shit. So when we met up with Mike, he was like, yeah, I'll put out the record. We're like, okay, do you want to hear demos? And he was like, no, why the fuck would I want to hear that? Just make a good Hackfish record. Here's the money. That's it. That's how Mike operates. When he believes in you, he believes in you. He didn't care. He's like, just do what you do. Here's the money to record. He's that kind of a guy. He's a fucking good guy, great guy. But a funny story about that record versus the other one, when we went in to do Lame Ass, I was gone, my brother was gone, Tony was gone. It was just George doing vocals. And I think he was doing Happiness. I think he said that was the first song he tried. So he was in the vocal booth and he did his first run. He was like, all right, my heroes, I'm gonna see what they say, man. So he goes, hey guys, how was that? And Bill came back and was like, that was probably the shittiest singing I've ever heard in my fucking life. And he said, and so George said he was just, oh my God, that sucks. So after that, like before we started touring, he and Zach went down to a vocal coach in Houston. They would drive once a week to go get vocal lessons in Houston,